All right, everybody, welcome back to the Chen Dynasty here at twitch.tv/jchensor. I said I was going to try to get a logo to put on here. I forgot to do that. Let's see if I can actually do that while I'm sitting here. But what I want to do at this point in time is, we've had some good discussions about this and all this stuff like that. I would really like to open this up to questions and, counterpoints and arguments and debates and things like that. Okay, you know what? I'll take care of that some other time. Okay, wait, what can't you find? Let me try the 3 versus AI. I don't even know anything about that. Okay. But, I talked about, basically this episode was mostly about how to make online fighting games fun again. I'll get this on YouTube as soon as I can. But, basically adding a lot more casual modes for players, and yes, adding random factors into it, adding different ways to play the fighting games in less serious environments. Oh yeah, and I probably forgot to mention this, but obviously all those side environments would have no ranking points. So it doesn't feel as bad when you're losing. You're not seeing your points drain. That's one of the worst things about the online grind. One of the reasons why it's not fun is because while you're losing, all you're doing is watching your points drop. You don't see your fight money going up. You don't see any of that stuff. But if you have multipliers, like if you earn those multipliers that I was talking about, and then you lose a ranking match, but you see like fight money times 5 and flash that, and you see your fight money go up, that'll actually feel a little more encouraging even though you're losing. You're not gaining as much fight money, but still, at least you feel better. Like, hey, I'm gaining extra fight money than I would be normally. And so there's a little bit of a positive reinforcement to the ranked matches. Ranked matches are brutal because you go online and you're like, let me play. Yay, I gained 200 points. I lost 200 points. And I lost 50 points. And then I lost, and all you do is see yourself losing all day. And it's painful, man. It hurts. Ranking is not fun. And I keep saying that they need to expand it. I kept trying to think of like ideas for world tour modes, those kind of things, or like RPG simulators where you actually like walk along and do stuff like that as you gain. But the problem is, no matter what idea I came up with, it was always a hindrance to pro players. Like, you don't want to force pro players into the easy stuff at the beginning. You want to give them the ability to just play ranked as they would. And so the system that I came up with, different modes, I feel like benefits the casuals and benefits the pros at the same time. Am I diluting the player base? Well, a lot of the people who are playing the casual modes probably wouldn't be playing ranked modes anyway. And by having people continually play those casual modes, accidentally learning fundamental Street Fighter, and then kind of, making them play ranked matches online every once in a while, they may actually start liking ranked matches. They might start winning more often and finding things going on, and you're like, this is fun, this is cool. And then they actually get good and they actually find themselves winning and applying things that they learned in the other versions. And, there's just so many ways to do that. And I think it's like I said, this is not the exact answer. Obviously, a lot of things that I've said probably won't work. But that's the thing. You got to, and again, this is budget and time, but you got to calculate it. You got to figure out how it works, test out the modes, see if it's fun, etc., etc. Dropping ranks in Tekken is brutal, man. Elite. Every time I drop a rank in Tekken, I'm like they need to make it like a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing where you can't drop below a certain rank at some point in time. But I'm just opening this up to questions now for ideas, counterpoints on why you don't think that my ideas are a good idea. And if you don't think my idea is a good idea, fuck you! No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking. This is UNCHENSORED, so I'm allowed to do that. But no, I actually do, one of the reasons why on Twitter that I engage oftentimes with people who argue with me, who yell at me. I always see people like, James, why do you talk to these people? Just ignore them. I engage with them because personally I think it's healthier to engage with people who disagree with you than to turn social media into an echo chamber. That's not what I want. If I only talk to people who agree with me, you just get an inflated sense of self, and you don't really understand other points of view. So I often argue with people with a different point of view because I really just want to understand it and get a better idea of it, and which is why I apologize a lot on Twitter, because a lot of times I'll see their side of things. I'm like, okay, that's my mistake, my bad. So if you guys do have counter arguments, please absolutely throw them my way. Okay. Crazy Max 46 says, this really isn't a question. I don't think ranks are a problem like what people say. I just think there should be more division. With regional rivalries a big part of the FGC, it would be fun to section it by country, state, or area city, because the likelihood of me being the best in my state is a lot more likely than being in the top of the world. Yeah, actually, it would be kind of cool if that was like they had like rankings. It's kind of like clans, right? And then that way, if you play against people in your area a lot more, like there's more of the region so that you get better connections in general and build up points for your region. And then you fight against world, and then there will be a world ranking for the different regions. And that way they get like extra prizes or something like that. I don't know. So, like, there are so many ways to make it really cool, Crazy Max. And there's so many ideas out there. And like I said, the ideas that I came up with obviously focus on one specific direction, but there are a lot of different ways to do it. Yes, and Falcon Hoof mentions the budget again. Yes, budget is absolutely a problem, but like I said, Smash Brothers, Injustice are two games that have taken the time to do the effort to make these side modes, and they both sell very, very well. And there's a reason for that, because they put those things in there. And a game company just has to understand that. The game company just has to understand that if the head of the game company doesn't understand that fighting games need extra modes to be fun, to have people play, to have more people have more engagement with it, that is the problem of the fighting game company, and there's nothing we can do about that. There's just literally nothing we can do about that. Even something like Under Night in Birth has taken the time to really flesh out their tutorial mode, for example. It's possible. And I think tutorial mode might even be harder to do a little bit than some of these other casual modes. Because the casual modes, like the time mode, you just change. It's like basically training mode, except you just turn on infinite health, and just keep a sum of all the damage, etc., etc. Anyways, if you have a question, make sure you at jchensor me. Like Splatoon Turf Wars versus ranked modes. Exactly, Boats and Joes. Exactly. I love Turf War. I'd rather play Turf War all day in Splatoon because I have fun with that, because I'm a casual, right? So that's a perfect example right there. Gotham Kid says, I've been working with muscle memory for a game for a few months, but anxiety during the heat of the match continues to ruin my input. As a beginner, would it be helpful if I look at my buttons from time to time? Gotham Kid, you do not need to look at your buttons. I'll tell you right now, one of the best ways that I have learned muscle memory in a fashion that doesn't make me nervous, and it can be really annoying, but that's good because that's what you want. So this is how I learned Dragon Ball Fighters. This is how I actually learned muscle memory with all the characters. I went to training mode. I put the dummy on like CPU difficulty 6, put infinite health, make sure that you have normal super meter, otherwise the computer spams supers all over the place. But that's it. I just fought the computer for literally like 45 minutes straight, never worrying about dying, and just hitting the computer all day and then hoping that I go into the right combo path. And that's literally how I learned Kid Buu. And then as soon as I took him online, all of a sudden I can do all the combos. You don't have to worry about losing to somebody else. You don't have to worry about dying. You can stay on the character. Your character will never die, so you never have to switch unless you manually switch. And you just fight against the computer, and the computer will be annoying enough to dodge you that you're not sure if you're going to hit them or not, so that when you do hit him, you better make sure that you have your muscle memory down. That is what I do to practice hit confirms and muscle memory and stuff like that. I think that is a great way to do that. Again, please make sure you add at jchensor, so that I will see the stuff. Ho Muffin says, what about a battle royale mode? I do generally wonder what NRS's budget is. I suspect it's bigger. Oh yeah, for sure it's bigger. Crazy Max also says, I have some time in iRacing and everybody is divided by state and country. so you can see who is the best by state or country and see their race history. I'd like to be able to compare myself to other players in my area. Plus, that way we can compare our scenes to other scenes. And yeah, and also, if you create in those regions the ability to chat with each other or have like meetup notifications or something like that, like the post messages on the board, I think that would be sick. Especially if you had it on the region. If you're in fucking Maine and you found out that there's a meetup for players in Maine that's 2 hours away, because I don't think you can drive longer than 2 hours and not leave Maine. Like, that would be amazing, right? I mean, how great would that actually be? That would be amazing. Alidi asks, what kind of casual modes would you include in assist-based games, since the game flow is drastically different than in Street Fighter V, for example? I had thought about that. So like the timer mode, I would make it so that characters would disappear, like would go, and like squat down, go away, have a cooldown for like 10 seconds before you can use them again, and then you have to use the other characters, etc., etc. There's a lot of different ideas. I'm just not sure. I haven't thought about it carefully enough yet. Although stuff like bomb modes and stuff like that I think would absolutely work. Maybe in Dragon Ball Fighters there'd be a mode that's all ki blasts and all kamehamehas. So you only have the D button to fight. So you're just sitting there shooting fireballs at each other all day. You know, that would actually be kind of fun. You know, things like that. There's a lot of different ideas. I haven't really clearly thought about it. I've been concentrating on thinking about modes for Street Fighter for sure. So I'll think about it at some point. Maybe get some ideas out on Twitter or something like that. Enhanced quality of DLC. Street Fighter V S3 DLC looks like bunk, according to Kyrie. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened there. It makes me sad, dude. I don't know what's going on with Season 3, which is why I'm terrified for Cody and Sagat. So, OG Underpowered says, do you think that FGC is split between too many games? MOBA genres? Yes! Oh, yeah! Yeah, one of my previous UNCHENSOREDs, one of my first UNCHENSOREDs, no, actually it was one middle UNCHENSORED, where I actually said I felt like this is a terrible time for fighting games right now because there are too many fighting games. It's really scary. It's really, really terrifying time right now to play fighting games, because you're going to go to the game that you like, the one that you can win at most, and so it's tough. But the reason why it's not as bad as it was a long time ago during the Street Fighter II era is that the player base is significantly larger. So we're able to weather the storm for now. But, you know, as a result, games like Unist and KOF 14, which are both fantastic games, don't get the player base that they kind of deserve. And some games are going to fall by the wayside, and there's really not much you can do about it. Peter0611 says the DBFZ AI is so bad, but that's good. Because they're bad, they just kind of do repetitive stuff, which means you can hit them more often. So testing your muscle memory works a lot better. Burkish Man asks, how can fighting games be fun with friends? MOBAs works because your friends can carry you. Well, like I said, some of these casual modes will be playable offline. It'll give them a better chance to win, and you can play with them in a casual environment with fun things happening that'll make you and your friends laugh. You'll have a good time. They'll accidentally learn things just through, you know, gaining 25% damage fireballs, etc., etc. Or just even like, what if you are a Karen player and you picked up an item that let you just have a Hadouken? You get 10 Hadoukens that you can cancel into or whatever. And then suddenly they learn projectile games, right? If they get the game, like let's say they're using, who's a good character? Let's say they're using Laura, right? And you pick up an item that lets you do uppercuts, like literal shoryukens. And then you're like, haha, now I have, and they're invincible uppercuts. They're like, haha, now I have these invincible uppercuts. And you, as the better player, keep baiting them out and draining half their energy every time they uppercut. Maybe they'll stop thinking invincible uppercuts are too broken. Anyways, you know, stuff like that. So having those casual modes will help you play with your friends, even offline. It'll help them learn stuff. Let's see some other questions here. I'm skipping a lot of things in chat. I'm sorry, because I'm trying to catch up to the questions. Puma the Monsters asks, do you think tutorials would be much better if someone actually voiced them instead of having to read? No, not really. Because, like I said, the tutorial mode problems are that they happen all at once and you forget everything. It's really, really hard. It's really, really hard. Did you really just say amazing, Maximilian? That's my job, Max. Come on. Do I think tutorials... But the tutorial modes are a problem because they teach you a lot, but then you forget. You never go back to play them again. There's no reason to play them. Just inherently by default, tutorial modes are flawed because they are presenting themselves as education. And education, unfortunately, has a negative connotation because everybody still has nightmares about school, about not studying for the test or forgetting to read the book or going to school in your underwear or whatever like that. So presenting things as education is always going to be a losing proposition. So let's see, John Joy mode. Okay, so Boats and Joes ask, what about cool fun things that make it into the main games like Rage Art, Combo Breakers, Reversal Edge? Those could be designed to be fun for both beginners and veterans, but it's difficult. Yes, it's tough. Ultras, for example, were designed for beginners, but they became very much more useful for experts, obviously, because they learned the combos to land into them. But at least they're there. At least comeback mechanics are stupid in a lot of ways, but at the same time, I understand why they're there, and I can't really begrudge it. Maximilian Dude says, I really wanted a goofball mode in KI where Instinct Meter was active all the time. Right? What if there was a Street Fighter V mode where V-Trigger was on the entire time? Like, that would actually be really fucking sick, right? So it's just like Manat's like orbs, shooting orbs, and then there's a cooldown, and it just like slowly builds up, you know. So it's not necessarily active all the times, because actually Manat would be super broken. She would just throw orbs, and you would never hit her ever again. So there would have to be some balance ideas to it, of course, or maybe it forces you only into V-Trigger 2 or something like that. But it would be something like that would be awesome. An all V-Trigger mode, just throwing Aegis reflectors everywhere. I think that would be kind of funny. Duo11 says, your ideas are pretty good and could improve player retention, but I don't think fun modes are a way to capture new players to get them to pick up the game off the shelf and give it a go. It's not an easy thing for marketing. Yes, Duo11, you are absolutely right. The fun casual modes are not marketing strategies. They are not for getting more people to play your game. They're for retention. These ideas are for retention, keeping people playing your game. And if there are those fun modes, word of mouth will actually be a little bit more powerful. As much as everybody called me a Street Fighter shill, I have actually told my own brother and a couple of my best friends and a bunch of casual friends who used to play Street Fighter, they asked me, should I buy Street Fighter V? And I told them no. I literally told them, do not buy the game. I said, there is nothing for you in this game. There's absolutely nothing for you in this game. Do not buy this game. I've literally told people that I know very close to not to buy this game because I just know there's nothing for them. There's nothing for casual people in that game. So, you know, it's adding all those things in there would have made me say, yes, get the game. You're going to have a lot of fun with it. And that's why I think that having all those modes in there is very important because it gives players something to do. Casual players, it gives them a fun way to enjoy the game. The Say in 2000 says, is it the actual games or the community as a whole that splits it? The attitudes. It's a large part of the community. The community, you know, a lot of it is the superiority complex that's just natural in all humans. You can't help it, right? If you're a DC fan and you see all the success for MCU, you're just going to get pissed at that. You're like, well, our cartoons and comics are better. Nah. And then, you know, then they're like, oh, we're going to go on Rotten Tomatoes and rate all these Marvel movies low. You can't help it. It just happens. And so it's just a part of community, which is why I sit here and I have episodes all day where I talk about, please, let's give other games a chance. Let's be fair to other games to basically no avail. UIU TV asks, best way to play with a friend who's new to fighting games without discouraging or throwing the game? Training mode. Play competitive training mode with them so that they never lose the round, so that the pressure of losing games isn't there. And teach them things like movement. Just be really good at pointing out mistakes that they're making and practice certain things. But Honestly, I think training mode is probably one of the best ways to play with casual friends that are actually genuinely trying to learn the game. Suburban Socrates asks, do you think it's unrealistic to expect people to play more than one fighting game? No, but for casuals, yes. They're probably not going to play more than one fighting game, but if fighting games are your thing and you enjoy them, 2. Honestly, unrealistic to play more than 2? Probably. I would say a good chunk of players are going to play 1 fighting game. Of the people who enjoy fighting games, the majority will play 2 fighting games. A small chunk will play 3 fighting games. Very, very few will play 4. And then Nerd Josh will play all of them. See if there's any other questions. Like I said, I'm skipping through a lot of these things here. NB Silent Shadow says make V-trigger function like a Vorpal to solve that in the all V-trigger mode. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Let's see here. When's SF5 online training? SF4 had it, right? S-Wild? I don't know why it's not there. I think it's something that's completely missing. Nutacon asks, the other thing I love about sparring with friends in training mode is you're not focused on the timer, health, etc. You can spend more time trying new things or focusing on specific things you need to improve on that you might have a hard time during a match. Yes, that is absolutely true. It's another reason why I suggest sparring with people in training mode. Oh, actually, that's true, NB Silent Shadow. You do fit in the Nerd Josh category because you do play everything. I see you doing a lot of stuff. Whereas Charles Lee says, I play as many as I can. I don't care if I suck anymore. Yeah, it's true. It's tough. It's a tough situation. But if you're willing to play them all just to have fun and not worried about not getting better at the games, that's absolutely a valid and wonderful way to enjoy fighting games, in my opinion. Playing fighting games is not... See, that's the problem, is like, because of our culture, playing fighting games is about getting good. It's about winning. It's about improving. And that's not going to succeed. The best thing about playing something like League of Legends, it's like playing poker with your buddies, right? You sit down, you get on Skype, all 5 of you are talking to each other, shooting the shit, and you're having fun when you're leveling up at the beginning, killing minions and just poking away at towers or whatever like that. And you're just having a good conversation. You're just having a good time. You're talking. You're having a good laugh, just having a great time. And then all of a sudden somebody will be like, shit, come down to the bottom tower. We need to do this. And then everyone gets back into the game. And it's fun. There's this casualness to it that's so good, that just makes you enjoy the game. Fighting games just doesn't have that. And that's why we need to create that kind of atmosphere, to create this atmosphere of just having a good time again. Falcon Hoof asks, what do you think of Fantasy Strike, Blade Stranger style simple inputs as a way into fighting games? I think that's great as long as the game is designed with that in mind. So the thing about Fantasy Strike that will work is that, they have all those inputs in mind, design the game, so it'll work, right? As long as they can balance the game around the ideas in which they have. And, I don't see it as a good stepping stone necessarily to get into a fighting game. I just find it as an alternate, fun fighting game to play. The whole concept of a stepping stone into fighting games is really kind of deceiving, because if you play something like Fantasy Strike a lot, once you get into something like Street Fighter, there's just so much more, and a lot of the things that you did learn might not necessarily apply. But that's just speaking off of paper, off of theory, because I haven't played Fantasy Strike before, so I don't know. So I can't say anything about it. I do know there are people out there who really enjoy Fantasy Strike. Rising Thunder was another one with easy inputs, and I know a lot of people really enjoyed that game. So absolutely, I think it's definitely a valid way to play, but it needs to be something that your game is designed for. Street Fighter V is the perfect example of that, right? I've complained about the input buffer so much, and it's because even though a game like Tekken has input buffer, Tekken is designed for input buffer. The game was designed with input buffer in mind. Street Fighter is Street Fighter. It was never designed with input buffer in mind. So by adding input buffer, it changes the game drastically from what Street Fighter kind of is. And so the input buffer, in my opinion, doesn't work. I know a lot of people don't agree. I know David thinks that I over-exaggerate the effective input buffer. But on the other side, I know guys like Automatic, for example, 100% agree with me that input buffer is a huge problem in Street Fighter V. So, you know, as long as the game is designed with those systems in place, with it in mind and understanding exactly how they affect it, that's why I honestly think if Street Fighter V could last as long as Street Fighter IV did, by the time we hit Ultra Street Fighter V, it would probably, you know, in 7 years, it'll actually be a really strong game once we start learning the lessons from it. But that's only if it can make it that far, right? So that's the question right there. NB Silent Shadow, real talk. All right, real talk time. No fucking bullshit. Let's do this. How about giving players the option to quit an online match from a game menu without any harsh punishment and reward the other guy to solve rage quitting? NB Silent Shadow, I think that's actually probably kind of genius, to be honest with you. Just let the guy rage quit and just give the other person points. I think that's actually a really smart idea. However, I feel like most people rage quit because they know they don't give the other person points. And they're trying to spite them. They're trying to win without winning in a way. However, there is probably a good 50 to 60% of the people who do rage quit because they're just mad. So if you just give them the menu option for it, that actually might be okay. I actually don't think that would be terrible. Oh, no. Hubie Doobie is absolutely right. Absolutely right. Boosting is a problem. Boosting is a problem. That's why you can't do it. That's why you can't do it. Yeah, boosting is definitely a problem. APB Harlequin. The truth is, fighting games need to make the process of fighting people online more palatable. You may have mentioned this. FGs need to learn from Overwatch. Don't say you lose. Add metrics and rewards highlighting what they did right. Track meaningful fighting skills. Reward and highlight the things done right. See the medal system of Overwatch and how for an FPS it almost completely eliminates the silly KD spread presentation. Yeah. Absolutely. That's another way to make online a lot more fun as well, is to really kind of, give you stats, a lot more information and stuff like that. But the hardest part is finding out what the relevant stats are, like if you could figure it out for fighting games, or having an AI smart enough to pick the highlight of your match, of what you did well. You know, it's really tough in fighting games. Fighting games are one of the hardest ones to do that kind of stuff for. But I agree. I do think that that's kind of a thing to do properly. So, you used to have that dialogue when you were waiting in line with your quarter up, talking shit with your buddies. Yeah, arcades are really sick, man. There was just so, I had a whole talk on this before as well in a Tuesday show episode. You know, arcades have this reputation for being mean and cruel and violent and stuff. And yes, it happens. And yes, it is definitely something that has occurred, and there can be problems at arcades, obviously. But what a lot of people don't talk about is why arcades were basically the greatest place to gain a family. You know, the UCLA arcade that I played at, a lot of those people that I play with are still some of my best friends today, even though I graduated over a decade ago, right? Like, these are some of these people I still talk to, because we went through so many battles together. A lot of the people at Southern Hills Golfland, they're some of my best friends. They're some of my best friends. So, you know, it's like what Automatic said. You just go through the trenches with a lot of people, and when you get angry, and you're in a public environment, right? So it's harder. It's because of societal norms. You don't just like rage to death when you're in an arcade, although some people have. I've definitely gotten mad and punched controls before. On a game. But that's just me. But, you know, the arcades just produce such great families in a lot of ways, and a lot of people don't highlight enough about that when they talk about history and stuff. So, Automatic says it's input buffer combined with the input delay and 5-frame difference of normal and back recovery. The game is begging you to mash reversals. Yep, it's true. most rage quitters do it to retain points. Yeah. So even if you did put in a system in which you quit manually and it made you lose points, they wouldn't do it anyway. They would still disappear. Maximilian Dude says, real talk. Capcom needs to drop crossover titles and focus on a tag-based Capcom legacy fighting game. Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. They just need to make Capcom versus Capcom. And in fact, they should just name it that. It should literally be called Capcom versus Capcom, even though that would be the stupidest name ever in the world. It would still be, it would show everybody exactly what it is right from the start. Capcom versus Capcom. So I think, yeah, they absolutely should do that. They just need to drop the crossover stuff. Just make it their stuff. Don't worry about all this Marvel license BS and everything like that. Just don't worry about the IPs. Just make a game for yourself like that. I mean, like Tatsunoko versus Capcom was awesome, so it shows they could do it with any crossover. So why not just do it with a crossover with yourself? Makes sense to me. Yeah, Peter0611 says the Smash game had crazy stats, both important and silly at the post-match screens. And I bet you all of the Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 games are keeping a lot of those stats. I bet you they're doing it, and they're just not doing anything with them. So, Automatic says, my wife is actually related to my fighting game mentor. That's actually super cool. That's a wonderful story. That warms my heart. That warms my heart. Let's see. Oh, really? I had no idea anything about that. Maximilian Dude. He says that Ono is in the same division, but the Monster Hunter guy moved over to the fighting game division to lead. I didn't know that. I hadn't heard about that. Mex Deuce says StarCraft Remastered Ladder had a problem because you could see your matchup and disconnect without penalty. They only recently fixed it. Yeah. Capcom Fighting Jam 2, led again by Ono-san. Oh, God. Capcom Civil War. Yeah, exactly. Capcom All-Stars 2. Like I said, Capcom All-Stars 2, even though there was no Capcom All-Stars 1. Yeah, exactly. But Capcom Fighting Jam 2, yeah, no, don't name it that. That's just bad reputation at this point in time. Let's see, what else do we got here? Happened a couple of months ago. Seemed to be a response to AE MVCI sales. Well, Monster Hunter turned out really fucking good and sold really fucking well. So, you know, let's hope that he can do something with the fighting game division. The timing for Tatsunoko or Tekken versus Street Fighter wouldn't be great. Yeah, probably. I don't think that's going to happen because Tekken 7's already kind of like that, but better because they have Fatal Fury and Final Fantasy 15 in there. They kind of have leeway for adding a lot more guest characters, and I think that's really cool. So, please, shout-outs to the Brazilian FGC. Thank you, Death Metal Diamond. I'm sure that means send shout-outs to the Brazilian fighting game community. Absolutely. In fact, my next week's UNCHENSORED, if I get a chance to do it, because I'll be traveling next week, let's see if I can manage to get that. But my next UNCHENSORED episode is going to be talking a lot about ranking events and smaller communities like Kuwait Battle Royale, like Game Over, like Saigon Cup, and the struggles that they have to go through and maybe what we can try to do to help them out a little bit or something to that extent. But definitely shout outs to the Brazilian fighting game community. There are so many great fighting game communities out there. You learn that the more you travel, and it puts a lot more pressure and responsibility on me to help grow the fighting game community so that our success in the States can really kind of, I hate using the word trickle down because it doesn't work in the economy, but like, you know, just to have the benefits of, like, if it wasn't for the US Capcom Pro Tour, you know, the US guys doing the Capcom Pro Tour, Mena RD never would have been able to win Capcom Cup and literally change his country. And that's why it feels like, to me, we got to make the fighting game community big, because we can help a lot of different scenes. But I got to save that for next time. So I'll shut up. But shout outs to the Brazilian fighting game community. Absolutely. What's going on, Swagenheimer? Hope you're not too tired. All this league talk, jchensor, who do you main in LOL? I tried using the one guy a long time ago who looked like a Romance of the Three Kingdoms character. Didn't do so well with him. I then switched to Caitlyn, I believe it was. Caitlyn, who had the net, I think it was, and the long range, and I had much more success with her. I also really enjoyed being a healer, but I never even made it to level 12, so I never even got the little vanish teleport thing, so I was dying a lot. So trust me, I had never gotten that good at League. I basically never played it. Yes, Shinzao, that is exactly right. Duo. Yeah, I was not very good at League, so I was pretty bad. But it was fun. I definitely had like a friend that I played with, and she would actually teach me how to play, and it was actually a lot of fun. I had a good time with that. It was a really good time. When will I play Vampires? Oh, will I play Vampire Savior again? I would love to, DR, but I am so far behind in that game now. Like, Vampire Savior is one of those games that I love to death, and then I found out, because back in the day, we had no view of what Japanese players were doing. So I was really good at bad Vampire Savior, and I was one of the best, like, that played the game non-Japanese style-wise. But then when we found out what Japanese players were really doing, I was like, holy shit. And then I just never really got a chance to practice it. So, Super Famicom, I have not mailed everything out yet. That is probably going to be tomorrow. I was probably going to hit the post office tomorrow. I've been slow and late and lazy on that, so I do apologize. But I do have it all there. I will be mailing out those prizes at some point in time. So Mr. Friday asks, have I been watching E-League Challenger? No, I have not. I've not had a chance to. So I probably could have TiVo'd it. I forgot to TiVo it for like the first 2 weeks, and by then I was like, I missed the first 2 episodes, and then I just never bothered to catch up on it. So what's the one old school game you used to play that you wish people would pick up, excluding Street Fighter and Guilty Gear, asks Dr. Swagenheimer. What's one old school game that I used to play that I wish people would pick up? I mean, I could say Vampire Savior, but that game is just brutal to death, and it might just make everybody mad. But that definitely is one of the choices. I would probably say Vampire Savior, even though that game is super broken. Will you be commentating ST at Canada Cup in October again? I should be. I should be. Hopefully, if they let me. Sint asks, what was it that Japanese players did in Vampire Savior? They just played it differently. I mean, instant air dashes. They knew the unblockables. They played it in the most broken way possible. The way that a lot of people in America were playing it, they were still playing it like Street Fighter with cool options. But Japan was literally playing Vampire Savior, so it was really crazy. Vampire Savior isn't too bad as long as you play as an easier character, like Dimitri. Yeah, Dimitri is a little bit easier character. So I played mostly Felicia. I played a little bit of Anna Karis just because I like dropping coffins on people's heads. But Anna Karis is not good in that game, despite what Mighty Mar might make you think. Winning tournament after tournament, Anna Karis is still low tier. Was. You played it yesterday, huh? Nice, good stuff. All right. Oh yeah. Everybody in America does it now. But that's why I'm saying that I'm way behind right now. I'm way behind on Vampire Savior. If I wanted to play it, I'd really have to sit down and really learn it again. Am I going to enter a Tournament of Legends qualifier now that Cammy won Texas Showdown? Mex Deuce, probably not. I mean, maybe it just depends, because most of the events that I go to that I'm working, so it's really hard for me to enter tournaments, and I don't want to like delay them and stuff like that or cause them any problems. So it's just better if I don't enter most of the time. But I would say probably not, but I can't say never, right? If there's some, crazy, twist of fate that I'm free and I'm just happen to be in the mood to play some ST, yeah, for sure. Sigma says, it's 2 a.m. in South Africa right now, but enjoying the show. This has been really insightful. Thank you. I think you're the one who sent me the DM as well about the South African fighting community. I will definitely try to tweet out. I haven't watched the video yet, but I will definitely try to tweet out that video when I get the chance, Sigma. So just if you haven't seen me tweet it out, just keep bugging me about it. Just keep bugging me about QB. Yeah, play QB. Just learn to jump and air dash and hit a button, and you will basically win. Oh, thank you, UIUTV, for the Tekken commentary. I want to make this clear that I personally rated myself like a 4 out of 10 on Tekken commentary. I didn't think I did that well. I made a bunch of mistakes. I kept calling Xiao Yu standing 3 a magic 4, for example. When it was standing 3, and afterwards I was like, that wasn't a 4, it's a 3. It's a 3, right? And I tested it, sure enough, it was a 3. I didn't know the player histories, but that'll come with time. I knew that was going to be a problem going there. And obviously I just didn't know a lot of the characters, but I'm still learning them. I'm still getting into it, and hopefully I'll keep getting stronger at it. I will be making a lot of mistakes, so I do apologize to the Tekken players out there. And if there's anybody who is big in the Tekken community here, who can let other people in the Tekken community know, I do apologize. I'm learning, I'm growing as a Tekken commentator. It will be rough at first, but I will be trying my best. And again, it is because I appreciate the game a lot. Yes, I would like to do Tekken commentary for the Tekken World Tour, so there's a career aspect to it for me as well, but I'm doing it because I really enjoy the game, and I do consider myself an exceptional teacher of fighting games and fighting game concepts and being a commentator that explains things well. So it's something that I want to do for Tekken because I'm hoping that I can help other people learn to appreciate Tekken. Basically, when I was at Tekken World Tour Finals in San Francisco last year, my friend who doesn't watch Tekken at all was like falling asleep, but he was just there to keep me company. And so basically I was talking to him and was like, hey, this is kind of how you want to watch Tekken. These are the important things. I taught him the things to look for. And then all of a sudden he enjoyed it a lot more, and it was exciting to him at that point in time. So, that kind of made me think to myself, maybe I could teach Tekken. So I wanted to do, that makes me want to keep doing that. Thank you, Swagenheimer. Thoughts on BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle? Haven't played it enough, but I like it so far. I like that it feels degenerate. I like that, and I mean that in the most positive way possible. I like the way that it feels like it's broken, and it feels like you can really just do some dirty ass shit in that game. And we haven't had a game like that since Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, but God knows nobody's going to play that game at this point in time because everybody's already predisposed to hating it because it's easy to go along with the herd and the sheep mentality. That's right, I'm calling you out, MVCI haters. You're sheep. You're sheep. But MVCI is a fantastic game, but, BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle might actually fill a lot of that. So, Mex Deuce, oh, thank you. If I did better than Artosis and Tasteless when they did Tekken 7, but they probably didn't have a chance to study it at all, so that's unfair, right? That'd be like asking me to do LOL commentary with the level 11 experience that I played. It just won't go well. Would I commentate Virtua Fighter 6? I definitely, if I like it and I really enjoy it. That's the one thing, right? I want to commentate games I enjoy. I've learned to commentate Dragon Ball Fighters just because I just want to know Dragon Ball Fighters. I want to learn how to play it. But I've never really, I'm not pushing myself to be a Dragon Ball Fighters commentator like I am Tekken. I'm really striving to be a Tekken kind of commentator. Guilty Gear, I would really push hard to be a Guilty Gear commentator. Dragon Ball Fighters, not so much. Not because I don't enjoy the game. I actually enjoy the game a lot. I just don't know the lore for Dragon Ball, and I know so many other people out there love Dragon Ball, love the lore, and the joy that they get from commentating it and being able to make references like I was doing for Dissidia commentary is something that I don't want to take from other people. So I'm not pushing myself to be a Dragon Ball FighterZ commentator, but for Tekken and Guilty Gear is something that I am definitely working hard to learn. And I have commentated, like I've actually written down a list. I've commentated over 24 different fighting games before in my life, so I don't have any problem. Like, I have a reputation of only being a Street Fighter commentator, but that's just because, you know, that's what I do the most of. But I definitely like doing a bunch of different games. I have done a lot of different games before, so. No, VF6 is not a thing, but if it was, it would be cool. Let's see. That's the question I want to ask you, sir, asks the Saiyan. What do you feel is the difference between broken characters these days as opposed to the past? That broken characters aren't actually broken anymore today. As good as Cell is, as good as Cammy is in Street Fighter V, God, they're nothing compared to, like, M. Bison in CVS2, A. Bison in CVS2, or Nakaruru in CVS1, or Chun-Li and Yun in Third Strike, or Vega and Old Sagat in Super Turbo. Like, those characters are stupid. However, the thing about it is a lot of the games like Street Fighter V are more reserved, and if you actually watch Novo Tataki's most recent video where he talks about... No, it was NB Silent Shadow's latest video. Sorry. It was Silent Shadow's latest video, right? Was it your video, Silent Shadow? About the yeah, it was your video about the brokenness, the stuff that I wanted to help you with and never had time to help you with. But you know, in old games, weaker characters could win because the games were just inherently broken. But in today's day and age, even though a character like Sakura or Alex aren't that terrible, they're just not gonna be. There's just no reason to use them outside of, like, if Cammy exists in the game, if Abigail exists in the game. There's no reason to play Sakura if Cammy is in the game. There's no reason to play Alex if Abigail exists in the game. Those characters all can win. They're actually significantly scarier. Like, honestly, an Alex in Street Fighter V is way scarier than like Ryu in MVC2, right? It's such a leap of how much better those characters are. But in this day and age, you're not going to see as many people play the low-tier characters with so much money on the line. And then also, they're just made irrelevant by a lot of other characters, whereas in a lot of old games, that wasn't the case. Oh, it wasn't you. It was Norval Tataki then, I guess. That was giving me that stuff. Yes. Shoot. I can't remember now. Shoot. My brain sucks. I'm an old man. Mr. Friday says he's all I need for DBZ lore. No, you always give me all the fake DBZ lore. Did I play KOF? I did play KOF 14 for a little bit. I played it when it came out, but I just didn't really... Oh, God. I found Infinites in Guilty Gear Rematch. I found an Infinite on the first hour of Guilty Gear 1 on PlayStation, and then I was like, this game is dumb. And then I put it away. I don't know why they're making it, to be honest with you. So he'll fight Chun or Yun with your Hugo any day over Street Fighter V Cammy, huh? So, well, I mean, to be fair, Automatic, you're also super good at Third Strike and you really enjoy that game. I use Cammy and ST, and I will fucking fight anybody in that game except Honda. Jesus Christ. But, like, if you come in from a newbie standpoint, like if you had never played Third Strike before, and you jump in, you go, Q is a sick-looking character, let me play Q. You are just going to die against Chun-Li and Yun all day. And the amount of fun you're going to have using Q versus Chun and Yun is going to be non-existent. It's going to be so much worse than if you're playing Alex against the Cammy in Street Fighter V. It's going to be significantly worse. But if you're super good at a game, yeah, you get to that point where you're willing to use low-tier characters against top-tier characters. And in a day and age where money wasn't a factor you would stick with those characters and you would learn those characters. You would get really, really good with those characters. So, so Boats and Joe says he saw me beat some Chicago Hondas who weren't abusing strong 100 hands. Yes, I did beat some Hondas, but that's because I didn't tell them how to beat me. Still a 9-1 matchup if you know what you're supposed to do. Yeah, it was Norval Tataki. Okay, yeah, there you go. Oh, you tagged me in his tweet. That's what it was. Okay, yes. It was Norval Tataki that I was talking about, yes. Q is a special kind of bad, which makes him fun. Yeah, can be. But let's say thousands of dollars are on the line for a Street Fighter Third Strike tournament. Would you stick with Q? Hell no. Hell no. In a 1v1 Japan tournament, in a team tournament, of course a Remy player is going to do well. In a 3 out of 5 top 8 or, even 2 out of 3 tournament with 2,000 people entering it, with thousands of dollars on the line, you can bet your ass that there will not be as many Remy, Q, and Hugo and 12 players. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And yes, everyone always brings up Kuroda's Q, but Kuroda's Q, once again, is Inigo Montoya, fencing left-handed. I always make that analogy. He entered an SBO one time as Akuma and OCV'd every single team until he lost one game. It was 1 out of 1. It was 1 out of 1. He lost a game and his teammates were cold because they didn't play a single game the whole day and they lost and his team was eliminated. But outside of that, Kuroda OCV'd everybody. He OCV'd everybody. In other words, Kuroda Akuma would destroy Kuroda Q. It wouldn't even be a contest. It wouldn't even be a contest. Well, you keep going back to money being an issue in terms of tier balance, but to be honest, that money may as well not exist for 99.5 of the players. This is true. This is true. But the top players have so much power and affect what a lot of people think, right? If you see Cien using Fang and succeeding, you as a Fang player will go, I'll stick with him. If you see nobody using Fang and you're like, fuck this character, he sucks. Look, not even Cien can win with him. And you're done. Cooking stream with JJ, Jay, and Max? Dude, I'm down. JJ's talked to me about it, and I actually love cooking. I actually love cooking. Harlequin. What is the answer to that? The Q dilemma. Getting into fighting games, people tell me just play the character you love. That looks cool. Forget tiers. Doesn't that make that advice bad? Nope. Because if you're getting into it and you're not getting into it to win thousands of dollars, you can go ahead and play Q. It's just really frustrating. That's all. Yeah, Kuroda probably would stick with Q even though he could win better with Akuma. I'm not saying that he wouldn't stick with Q. He probably would do it because Q is also kind of a savant. Kuroda is kind of a very, very specific case. I mean, people have actually said in Japan that he is like a savant. So he is kind of on a separate level. He's on a separate level. I will be at E3. Yes, I will be at E3. For sure. I do not cook Indian food, Bill Hicks. Unfortunately, I'm not very good with spicy food, so I'm actually not very good with Indian food. I don't have any problems with it. I don't eat a lot of Indian food because it doesn't suit my palate as well. Six Machine asks, am I going to DreamHack Austin? I don't know. Nobody said anything about it, so I don't think I am. So there is a lot of Indian food that isn't spicy. Yeah, I've eaten Indian food that isn't spicy before, and there is some good stuff for sure. But just in general, I guess, I didn't eat a lot growing up, so not a lot. Oh, excuse me, my lunch is coming back at me right now. Woo! Butter chicken. That actually sounds hella good. I think I've had butter chicken before. And I think that was super good. I think that might have been something that I really like. I can cook all sorts of things. My cooking repertoire is very small, though I enjoy it. There's a couple of Chinese dishes that I can make. I mean, easy shit like pasta for myself a lot of the times. I can make a mean pot of gumbo. But like I said, my cooking reputation is kind of small, so don't have a lot of things that I'm very good at cooking. All right. Well, I've been doing this for about 2 hours now. I guess I can probably call it a night for now. Call it a day for now, I should say, as it's only about 5:15. I might stream maybe some more Mario tonight. Maybe I'll learn another Tekken character tonight. We'll see. Oh, slow cooker. That would actually be good. I can make microwave popcorn, but God, please don't burn your microwave popcorn at work. Just don't do it. It's so bad. Oh God, Ho Muffin, that's gonna happen. There's gonna be battle royale games up the butt. More moons, yeah, exactly. I'm getting there, dude. I'm at like almost 700 moons out of 800 and something. So yeah, but either that, like I said, I'll do some more Mario later today, or I will do some Tekken, learn some more characters in Tekken later today. One more question says, NB Silent Shadow, what's the most beautiful fighting game ever in my opinion? Like graphics-wise, art-wise, just overall. I mean, it's hard to shake the bias out of me that I would probably say the most beautiful fighting game ever is Vampire Savior. I would probably say Vampire Savior. Just because the animation, the attitude, the personalities of the characters, the humor factor, the fact that BB Hood never hits you on purpose, like she's reaching for butterflies, or she's turning around to see her dog, or jumping away from moles, and the only time she ever actually hits you on purpose with like guns and missiles, she gains evil face. Like things like that is just so great. So I actually think VSAV is probably what I consider the most beautiful fighting game. To be honest with you. So, oh, you actually agree 100%, huh? Well, good stuff, NB Silent Shadow. CVS 2 was great because the SNK characters looked beautiful. The SNK characters look beautiful. Yeah, Third Strike, obviously, because the animation in that game and the sprite work on that game is basically unparalleled. Exerd is another one that I do think is one of the most beautiful fighting games. Like right now, of the games that are being played, Exerd and Tekken 7 to me are the two most beautiful fighting games. But of all time, like I said, my heart goes to Vampire Savior. God, Lord Raptor walking, God, the way he walks too is so beautiful. Like, do you ever notice that Towards Fierce move where that big bone goes across the screen is his elbow? Have you actually noticed that? He just does this. And he goes like this. He just does like the guy elbow strike, but then the bone in his arm just goes all the way out there. Have you seen Lord Raptor's suicide animation? Everybody's suicide animation is like, you know, they stab themselves. But obviously they stab themselves in the stomach. Lord Raptor has no stomach. So when Lord Raptor actually suicides, he puts the sword in there and then slices up. And he cuts half of his whole like upper half, and it starts to slide down, and then he crumples. It's like, Jesus Christ, this sprite work is so amazing, dude. So beautiful. And oh, actually, Max, I will agree with that. UMVC 3, such a beautiful game. Such a beautiful. I should have said MVCI. I should have said MVCI as my answer to troll everybody. Really, really should have trolled everybody there. But in any case, thanks guys for coming, hanging out. Thanks, shout-outs to guys like NB Silent Shadow and Otto Maddock. And Maximilian Dude for coming and hanging out in my chat. Much appreciated. Always glad. Again, if you guys enjoy the content, if you guys want to continue to support me, I have a Complete the Cat meme. I need 125 subscribers for more icons, but unfortunately, I'm only at like 50 subscribers right now. So I have a long ways to go. But, you know, if you appreciate the content, please feel free to subscribe. Shout out to Maximilian Dude for the continued subscription. Donations, bits, any of that stuff really, really helps. And I will keep trying to do more UNCHENSOREDs. Like I said, once the 30th anniversary comes out, oh, thank you, Automatic. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Once 30th anniversary comes out, I will definitely force myself to start doing a lot more content because, God, I can't wait to talk about every game in that shit, dude. I cannot wait to talk about every game on that collection. It'll be so much fun, James. It'll be so much fun. So much fun. So, all right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Also, if you guys want, join the Discord as well. I have a Discord. If you want to join the Chen Dynasty Discord. Breezy died. Don't get me started on that one. Again, don't get me started talking about basketball at this point in time. If you want to join the Discord, it is a great environment right now where it's a very friendly environment. People are talking about fighting games in a very casual, it's a good discussion, lots of friendly people, organizing lobbies and stuff like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And yes, Diggler, I will be doing hyper fighting stuff and ST stuff, and I'll be even going over the Champion Edition and all sorts of crazy things like that. It's going to be so much fun. Oh, I can't wait to go through all those games. It's going to be super fun, super fun. So can't wait till 30th anniversary coming out later this month. Shield mode coming out later this month. Definitely pick it up if you want to live some nostalgia all over again. So, all right. No online for Alpha 2 is definitely a problem, but like I said, as much as I love Alpha 3 more than Alpha 2, and I think Alpha 3 would be more fun in training mode, Alpha 2 probably should have been the one that got the online because Alpha 3 is kind of broken. So, anyways, webpage not available for the Discord. Did the Discord link change on me again? That always happens. The Discord link always changes on me. Windows cannot find Discord. Here we go. That's not Discord. Discord, invite people, copy. Try this link right here. That should work right there. And let me change that on Moobot. I mean, I always select don't change the thing, and somehow it always gets changed. I don't understand. It drives me nuts. I don't know why that always happens. Commands list, Discord, edit, link to Chen Dynasty Discord, paste, save. All right, let's try that again. Okay, so use that link for the Discord instead. Use that for the Discord. So, yeah. Again, Alpha 2 is a better competitive game because of no crouch cancel infinites. Alpha 3 is just a by far much better game just in terms of creativity, systems, risks taken, character variety, and just cool systems and stuff like that. Oh, God, it's going to be crazy when all the new fighting game stuff comes out, dude. It's going to be crazy. All right. Anyways, thanks, guys, for coming in and hanging out and watching UNCHENSORED. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stuff here. Again, Discord, donate, subscribe, all that stuff like that to have me continue doing stuff like this all year round. I've been traveling and being lazy about streaming, but I've been saying that for 5 months. I know my New Year's resolution was to stream more. I need to do better on that. So, okay. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Peace out. Have a good night. And don't forget, guys, the most important part, and that's to suck my nuts, assholes.